Hi everyone, my name is Maureen. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Maureen.
And yeah, thanks for getting me emotional before I even start. This is my first in-person meeting. I'm still pretty freaked out about COVID, and so I'm just gonna get it off my chest about I'm afraid to hug people, even if I have my mask on. I work with really high-risk people and special needs. So anyway, I appreciate everybody showing up. It's really fun to see people from Bainbridge. Had no idea. And oh gosh, I thought Austria was going to say the nickname Mighty Mo and talk about active. I am very active person. Woo! Right up here. I will tell you what happened to me before I got to you guys. And I am so grateful that I got here and that I was so sick that they said relapse did not have to be a part of your recovery, that I could stick and stay. I never had to take a drink or a drug again if I didn't want to. And even if I did, that you guys would help me, talk me off a ledge, talk me out of a drink, whatever I happen to be calling about. My home group is the Mustard Seed, Bainbridge Island. We've been starting at 8 o'clock forever, and a lot of us are getting older, and so we just changed it to 7 o'clock. And it is available on Zoom, and we do a step and a tradition every week. And then the 13th week, we pick a topic or ask a speaker to come. And let's see, I got sober February 12th, 1987. I did have to change my date because I didn't think the person that I was living with knew I was still smoking pot. Sorry, the outside issue. But anyway, I was like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not drinking anymore. And he goes, yeah, you got to stop everything now. And I'm like, dang it. And, in program, you always hear to thine own self be true. And that is just so huge. And so the last time, I really made that decision that I really wanted to join you guys because I wanted what you had. And I remember, just not having anything going on, feeling good inside anymore. Not in here, just kind of really very empty and alone. So I was raised in the CIA, Catholic Irish alcoholic, and I have 7 sisters, and I had one brother, and he did just die of alcoholism a couple years ago. I guess the death certificate said, I don't know, not death by alcohol, but OD on alcohol, whatever. I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, that was unfortunate. But my dad, I definitely was afraid of my dad, and he was pretty harsh, and he was really intense. And I just remember when he would be walking down the halls, and he was still able to walk when he came home. He's like 6 foot, 200, and sometimes 250 even, and it'd be boom, boom, and I just was so afraid, and I never knew what was going to happen. And I think I had a pretty good childhood until my parents really started fighting, and things got really out of control, and we just never knew what was going to happen. And I swear to God, this is true. A block away, we could hear my dad yelling, and it was really painful. And then if we were able to have friends over, and then because my mom thought my dad was going to be on good terms, and then he would come home, and then she'd say, leave with your friends, Anyway, I just was never going to be like that either. And I remember we all 9 of us wrote dad letters, and we felt the same thing about if you loved us and loved mom, of course you would quit and things would be better. And um, my dad did stop drinking, but he never wanted to come to AA. And I tried for so long to get him to come. And I just feel like he would have really fit in and really would have liked it. But he was miserable for the 20 years that he didn't drink. And he really wanted to die. And it was depressing because, I call him and say, "Hey, Dad, happy Father's Day. I just want to die." Alrighty, goodbye. No, I don't know where to go from there. But I remember talking to my sponsor about it, and she said it's not fun for everyone. And I can't remember if I said step ashore or seaside, but seaside is where we went when I was 3 months sober. And that was the first time I was like, I could have fun here. It's not going to be doom and gloom for the rest of my life. And if I was going to stay sober and not do the outside issues, I really wanted to have fun, and I wanted to not just live, I wanted to thrive. So my life is very full, and I have been through a lot of different things in sobriety, of course, because that's life, right? Just the whole deal. And I've been sober a long time, so I'm gonna have the good, the bad, the different. But overall, so much more good and great than anything else in all my years sober. So I was really fun at the beginning to party with, and I loved it. It was the first time that I could feel my body relax and let go of things up here. I ended up being in a gymnastics academy, and it was real serious. So 6 days a week, 6 hours a day. And I was just always, and then I'd go home and I'd still want to do gymnastics, but it gave me the escape from the craziness going on at my house. And some of my other sisters, it feels like they were trapped there. And so then when I started drinking, I always, I'm kind of a black and white person, and I've learned the subtleties of the gray shades in between, but I still usually do kind of overshoot the mark and go to extremes when I get into something. I really get into it, and um, and that was gymnastics and sports and all of that. And then I think my first, yeah, it had to be 17, 18. My first nervous breakdown um, happened. Went to the hospital. Um, Said weird things. They had to call my family and see if anything was true. I don't really remember that much about that time. And I am recovering from both eating disorders, and I almost lost my life from doing that for too long and going really extreme. The reason I say that here is that was one of the things that just, no matter how far down the scale we have gone, that always means a little something different to me, because it could never be low enough. And I was crazy as anything. And I remember people would say, "Well, I was going to tell you something." I go, "Well, I haven't got my exercise in. So as long as you can talk and I can do jumping jacks, we're good, right?" Not good. And then the other time, I started screaming at the top of my lungs, and my sisters didn't know what to do with me, and everybody from the apartments, this is after I moved to Seattle, came out. Ambulance came, and I guess they did something. They couldn't give me anything because I was screaming so loud, and so who knew what was going to happen. And then I had an opportunity because of my gymnastics to be the husky mascot and be in this dog outfit and do flips. I can't remember which one of these times in the hospital, but somebody came to talk to me in the hospital and said, "But now you're going to have to be better. You're going to have to be doing better than this." And when I was up, I was really up. And when I wasn't using and trying to kill myself in different ways, I was on my game. And so I did. I used to love being up in front. Now, no, I don't like this. But I used to love to perform and had a great time doing that. But um, so the other time in the psych ward this was my very first experience of the result of an AA meeting. I had a roommate and she was really wound up. I was, kind of doing exercises and flipping down the halls and different things, and I was out of my mind, but she was kind of nasty, and they took her away somewhere. And at that time, they were doing a lot of shock treatments, and I thought, oh, maybe she'll come back and be kind of shuffling a bit and not talking. But she came back and she was so different. And then I found out she had went to a AA meeting on the outside, and then she wanted a new roommate. And I'm just saying, you're not on a winning streak if that happens in the psych ward. But because of my eating disorder, they really didn't know what to do that much at that time. Plus, I would get sick of having that, and then I'd go back to being an alcoholic drug addict. And so, one of my longest stays was a 3.5 months. And God, it just, I lost so much of my life in there that I don't really remember that much. But I started in one part, and I ended up on the side of the rubber room. And oh God, thank God, people hung in there with me. And then I would go out and I'd start using a lot and drinking a lot. And, by that time, I really wasn't a fun party girl anymore. I was just weird and trying to get over having an eating disorder and mental issues and all of that stuff. But I would really drink, and then sometimes I'd get really depressed, and I would call people and tell them I was going to, commit suicide that night, and then I'd find a little something that would kind of keep me going, and I'd forget to call people back. And by the time I got here, my family had it with me, and nobody really knew what to do with me. And I definitely did not know what to do with me. I was still in therapy. I'd been in therapy for a long time by then. And my therapist said, well, how many times did you drink this last week? I go, well, a couple times. And he goes, no, really, I want you to count. And so then I was going on, and I go, yeah, I drank every day. And he goes, and he was never like this, but he goes, I think you should go to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous for every day you drank. I'm like, really? And for whatever reason, he goes, go to a meeting tonight. And he was never like that. He was never really forceful. And I had just told him a really bad story of something that I was thinking of doing. That's it. It was very violent to try and get back at somebody. And he said, I should report you. He goes, but you need to go to a meeting tonight. And I went. Everybody was so nice to me. And, what I heard in the beginning a lot was keep coming back no matter what. And that has really stuck with me through all the different times and hard times. I just keep coming back no matter what. I keep calling my sponsor, even on weeks where things are going really good or things aren't going that great. I just try and keep in touch because I need that connection. I really believe that's the opposite of addiction, is that connection. I'm skipping back. because the other experience with AA before I got here, I was doing singing telegrams at the time. And, I would go into boardrooms in different places, and they said, I got to go in. I got a birthday thing. I got to do it. She's in a meeting. I go, yeah, I know. I'm going to break into the meeting and then I'll go. And I was in a really weird outfit. I never wore this outfit before. I was a giant cockroach. I don't remember what that outfit looked like. It was usually like Playboy bunny or something kind of fun, balloon popping all over the place, wrapped up in balloons. But they said, no, it couldn't be like that. And they go, but it's an AA meeting. You can't. You have to wait until she comes out. I go, I can't wait. I mean, look at me. I got places to go. Oh my God. But anyway, yeah, I did a happy birthday and got out of there. And God, I don't know. Anyway, I really am. I feel very fortunate to be alive. I never felt like I got shamed in AA for not knowing things that I didn't know at 24 when I got here. I was in my own little wacky world by then, and they'd say, well, you're coming out to coffee with us after the meeting. I go, oh, no, 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 I'm not going. And then at that time, thank God, I really feel like I got sober right at the right place and everything. And they'd just drag you along. And then I remember when Max and Dr. Paul were speaking, and people were saying, oh, you got to go to this. Oh, no, 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 I don't want to go. And I didn't want anybody to get to know me. And I was, still kind of off center from my other stuff. And, oh no, you got to go. And then every time I would just go. And I remember at the Seaside thing, I had stopped smoking, and they said, don't stop. I mean, they did say stop everything, but you can smoke for the first year if you really want to quit. Then you'll have the coping skills and everything. And that was the thing. I didn't have any good coping skills. I didn't know how to take care of myself. Besides like over exercise, which wasn't healthy, and just all the other weird things that I had picked up, the all or nothing thinking. And I remember going to Seaside and having a really stressful time at a meal, and I felt like everybody else was normal and ordering things. And they brought me this cup of clam chowder, and she had put a thing of butter, and I looked at Oscar and I go, I didn't ask for butter. And she goes, well, I know, you could ask for another cup. I go, can I? And she goes, yeah. And then when I went back to the where we were staying, somebody was smoking, and I go, give me a cigarette. And that was such a good lesson, because I didn't even think about I'm gonna start smoking again. I just smoked. I was stressed out, and I was like, wow. When people talk about that it happens that quick to pick up a drink or a drug, that's it, baby. And so I did. I smoked for my first year, and then I quit after that. So, and I will have next month, hopefully, I'll have 35 years without starving or throwing up and going super crazy with my eating disorder stuff as well. And, it's all from here that you guys have. I really did want to have a fun and good life and a whole life. And at first I wasn't really sure. My memory was so shot when I first came in. Oh man, I was out of it. And they said, oh, it's okay, honey. You just keep coming back. Things are going to get better. And, I really, honestly, I just turned 60. I feel better now than I did coming in the rooms then. I mean, I feel good about who I've become. I feel good about my heart. I try really hard at what I do. You guys said that one day my greatest liabilities would become my greatest assets. And I'm like, oh, how is that going to pan out for me? And, it really has turned into that. And um, it's amazing that people trust me with their kids, their parents, and themselves. And, that I feel like I've been balanced a lot more than I ever have been. I've had great love and great friendships, and I still have now. I've been able to travel a lot, and I can't wait to start traveling again. Um, I'm going to go to my first show since COVID. No, my second one, I guess, but that was when they were kind of thinking it was completely over. To a comedy show, because I love to go to comedy shows and just laugh really hard. And um, how am I doing on time, by the way?
Yeah, 9 minutes.
Okay. I just never forget my friend spoke in Tacoma, and after he was done, somebody came up to him and said, "Thanks for telling me how to get drunk, but I already knew how to do that." So hopefully I'm saying something about sober. But the fake it until you make it. And they said, just in different situations when you don't know what to do, well, if you can make a phone call and talk to someone and have them talk you through it. But otherwise, think about what a really sober, serene, happy AA woman that you look up to would do in this situation. And that really did get me out of a lot of things. The road rage was the last thing that I gave up. And it took a really long time. I was telling my sponsee, I think it's been definitely over 12 years, but I remember calling Austria and going, yeah, they were all honking at me down at the ferry. And I wouldn't even look back. I did bodybuilding for 20 years, so I, felt kind of strong and all that. But I wouldn't even look back because he was in the car, and I would just get out and go, and I'm going, ooh, this is not that sober woman that I was wanting to look like. But I would go, shut up, and it's like a car full of guys. And I go, that could have really been messed up. And then I would do all these things. And, my sponsor really helped me remember you don't know what those people are just going to face, what they've just been through. We'd talk about these different things, different times, but it's still, if somebody would, I just have that little edge going. And I haven't had that feeling in a long time. Wasn't that thrilled when the guy honked at us and made us get back in line on Bainbridge, but I didn't have words with him. So I've come a long way on that front as well. Let's see. I got married to somebody in the program and went out for a couple years, and I was married for 14 and a half years. It was a really painful, hard divorce. And I never thought I would be able to, and I wrote tons of resentment. So I got lots of different layers on my part, and forgiveness, because I wasn't just saying F, 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 if anybody, it was just made me insane. And so now when I have thought about it in the recent years, I'm moving on. I've moved on. And Wednesday, I went over to see him at his house. And if you could have told me that would have happened even a year ago, no way. He had some things to give me, and then I got to see a dog that we shared, and we just had laughs and lots to catch up on, and that we really cared about each other. And anyway, just working on rehoming that dog right now, because it's just not the right situation anymore. but yeah, we're going to be friends again. So, I mean, we are friends again. And it's just, I can see somebody who knows the story, small town, the whole thing. It's just been really hard to not say anything sometimes. Um, but I've learned to have good manners and try not to, say anything bad about other people, and uh, except when you need to, and the people that are going to be a vault for you, and so you can stay sober and keep doing the deal. Um, I have I was so afraid to sponsor people, and then I said, "Well, wonder if I f them up," and my sponsor said, "They're already effed up." Tell them what you know and take them through the book. And a couple of them are in the room and a grand sponsee, and I'm so proud of them. And I sponsored about 12 women for my first 12 years. In some were dual programs, the eating disorder and AA, and some were just in the other program. And when I had a week, I could really help somebody sometimes get a day. And I just did everything you guys told me. I don't know what to do next. We'll go home and don't do anything else. Just get home, or whatever it happened to be. Really keeping it simple. Um, Unfortunately, well, okay. I have thought about suicide a couple of times. I still get professional help, but I have never thought very seriously about it, and I have not had to go back into the psych ward. Not that I wouldn't go back in if I needed to. I learned more. I learned so much in there. I really, really did. I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to go, and I know that's not the situation right now for a lot of people that really would like to go and need to go, and I feel sad about that. I've taken friends in AA because they wanted to commit suicide into hospitals, and they don't have a bed for them anywhere. I go, I'll drive them to Canada, Oregon, you name it, I'll drive them. We don't have anything for them. So it's a really different time. Um, I just see this is what happens. I just forget what I'm talking about now. It's like I remember Harriet goes, "What do I have again?" And everybody goes, "Dementia." How many more minutes do I have?
2 minutes.
Woo! Winding it up. Yeah, I just can't remember where I was or where I was going with any of that. The unfortunates, the ones that when I got here, I was so sick and tired of being that, and when they said, no, you really have to, thoroughly have we seen people fail who have rarely followed our path and things like that, and switching things around. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to do, and I really did. I really tried to stick with what they told me to do. They said 90 meetings in 90 days, however many meetings, 3 meetings a night usually is what I went to when I first got here. I didn't know what to do with myself, but the people that I've seen, some have been really, trying hard, and they go back out and then they die. And then other people get cocky and they think, well, I can do this and I can do that. And anyway, I at one point I said, I'm not going to go to any more memorial services in AA. It's just too sad and it's too hard. And, I think a lot of people really do try hard. And I know one of the gals that jumped from the bridge was my grand sponsee. And I knew who she was, her therapist, and she said, "Don't ever forget, Corinne really tried hard, and she tried hard for a lot of years." And so I don't want to do that. I want to keep having my life and keep change, learn, grow, keep on working, pride, ego, fear, all of those things. And Anyway, I hope to meet you guys again as we're trudging the road, or trudging, to happy destiny. Thanks so much for having me.